Is this game overrated? Hello and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, I'm a real person, and today we're doing something a little different. Because we're talking about Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the 2019 reboot of the Modern Warfare subseries in the Call of Duty series. And I'm just gonna go into this one kind of assuming you're gonna know generally that this is a first person shooter and whatnot. And I guess I'm assuming you know a bit more about this rather than giving you all the little bits and bobs about it. Because let's face it, you can probably just pick this game up and figure it out. It's a modern first-person shooter. Everything kind of tries to be like Call of Duty, anyways, most of the time, and it's so much so that this game barely shows you the basics of how to play because it just assumes you'll figure it out, and you will. I believe that you definitely will. So we're kind of foregoing some of that to talk about this game. Also, I'll slip this little piece of audio in post edit, but you won't know because it's right here in the beginning. There's going to be some spoilers in here. I'm not like going through the plot meticulously, but I'm explaining some things that happen. So if you don't want any of these impactful moments of the game spoiled for you, then skip the review and play the game. Otherwise, this is going to happen. So just that's part of how this review is a little different. Well, there's definitely a lot of praise for this game that I heard, and I was pretty excited to play it because everyone was saying how good it is, how it's kind of like a return to form for the series of being great again and all that. And I kind of went in not necessarily with like the expectations that it would be like the best game in the series, but that it would be very good. And I will say that there are some things that this game does really, really well, particularly in the form of basically showcasing the horrors of modern warfare, of doing these specialized military operations and things in more of a more current setting, rather than being, this thing that's way in the past or something way in this future that just doesn't feel connected to today quite the same way. So this particularly starts. It's like I believe it's like about the second mission where you go out and like you're in this city, and then you're just hit with this terrorist attack that happens in the city, and you're just scrambling to try and deal with that. There's terrorists just running around gunning down civilians that are just running away in a panic. There's RPGs shooting down from the buildings, whatever, like rooftops. There's like these little mini situations of like hostages like being held or whatever at gunpoint, little spots, and like of course there's also people shooting at you as well as you're trying to stop them. And it's just there's like also guys running out in like these, the bomb vests, suicide bomb vest things, and blowing themselves up. It's just absolute horror as you try to like, basically do your best to do everything you can to stop as much of that as you can, and also not die. And it's basically it's one of those where you really can't stop everything from happening, right? You can stop some of these things, but other things are just going to happen in front of you, and you just have to let that happen. There's nothing you can do to really, save everyone. It's impossible. Especially if you're trying to also not die yourself. And this is really punctuated also by like the very end bit where there's like a little bit of there's a bit of like a cutscene, I guess, that happens where Captain Price, hey, he's back, he's here. You go with him and you're like in the second story of this building, and there's a group of people who were like taken hostage, and the one innocent guy has had like one of those bomb vests locked onto him with like a timer on it, and you're not able to get the vest off, and there's not enough time to try and defuse it. So Price grabs him and throws him over the balcony, so he explodes down there. So it saves everybody on this floor, because there's just nothing you could do to save that guy. And it sucks. It's one of those where it's like, yeah, if he didn't do that, I mean, it feels bad that he just let that guy die. It was like, otherwise all these other people would die. And it's just, this whole mission is like, really, from like a gameplay perspective, really like, makes you feel that that whole thing they're trying to punctuate there is just like, the situation sucks, and you can't save everybody. No matter how perfectly you play, it just can't be done. And I think that's pretty powerful, especially the way they show that through the gameplay. And like you can feel it as you're going through there. Like these things are happening. Like I couldn't do that. I couldn't do this. And like it it made me hate this mission in like the best way. It sucks. It's great. um, it's very powerful the way they did that. I think that was really really good. And then they have other stuff that's like there's parts where you have to like go into like this like an apartment building, and like you cut the power and then go in with like night vision on, and you're just like slowly quietly going in trying to clear room for room to find your target. And as you're doing that, there's like a lot of innocent people just in there, and they're like freaked out because like what's happening. There's like the power's cut, probably hearing like the sounds of like gunshots and things, even though you're using like suppressed weapons, or hearing like stuff happening, and then guys come in with guns in your face. Some people, are pulling out weapons to defend themselves, and you have to take them out. Other people are just like freaked out and like scared, and like you're just sitting there like, as you like search whatever. And I think they it definitely does a good job of like showing the horror there too, of just being like what the hell's going on? Why are people like breaking into my house like with these guns, and like doing this or whatever? And they shot somebody like in front of me. Like I think they hit it pretty well with that too. And that like part ends with like they go up to the top, and it looks like Captain Price just totally takes out an innocent person at the top of like the top floor or whatever. And it's like, what are you doing? And, like your feelings like, what are you doing? And he basically like points out, like, look behind this person, and there's like a detonator behind them that they were probably going to push had they not been taken out right away. And so it's like, again, it does like a thing of like trying to make you question, of like, it does make you sort of question, it's like, did we need to do that? Is this really necessary? What are you doing? And he's kind of like, basically you have to make those quick decisions or you could be dead, is kind of what it's trying to show you. And they kind of play with this too. There's like a scene like later where you're having a talk with them or whatever. Like, two characters are talking, Price and then Garrick is the other character that you play as a bit, and like they're talking in this car ride or whatever, and they're questioning Price and be like, it's like, where are we drawing the line? What do we, where are we doing this? Because I think there's also a scene, I don't remember if this is before or after, there's a scene where they're in trying to get information out of a guy, and you have him like captive, and then to get him to talk, you bring in like his family, and you hold them at gunpoint, threaten to kill them if he doesn't like talk. There's that, it's a pretty crazy scene of you like just slowly there and like pointing the gun at them, and hearing him like freak out. And it's one where actually you can choose to skip that scene if you want to. You don't have to even play that scene because they realize like that's like also uncomfortable. So when they have this like little conversation in the car, it's like, what are we doing? It's like, where do we draw the line of what we're doing here? It's like, we shouldn't have been like bringing their like his dude's like family in there, and doing that. And it's like, where do we draw the line? And Price is like, well, we're we draw the line where we have to draw it. We get our hands dirty so that the world stays clean. And again, it's like there's an overarching like theme that they're pushing here. I think that works well, of like, where do we draw the line of what we're doing, in what is right, what is wrong, kind of thing. There's also some stuff too where like another character you play as, there's like a flashback scene of like where you're like, her and her brother are like kids or whatever, and like they're like in their home when like their like town gets invaded, and a soldier comes in, and like you hear like the struggle of like, you're running to hide, but you hear the struggle of your dad getting like killed basically, and struggling and fighting, and then there's like gunshots, and then the soldiers walking around searching the rest of the house for you, and you like have to like crawl around and like find household stuff to run around and like attack him with it. Eventually, and then also run away and not get caught. Eventually, he does scriptedly catches you, and then like your brother jumps in to like save you from being killed. And he starts like killing him. So then you like grab the gun off the distracted soldier and like wildly like fire it to like kill him. And then as you're leaving, you have like one last word with like your dying dad. And then you have to do this thing where you like try to escape. Part of you escaping is like trying to like sneak in and like grab this gun and like awkwardly try and quickly kill these soldiers around this truck and then take the truck away. But I don't know. There's just a lot of like moments here, yeah, where you do feel like they do a good job of making people seem pretty like afraid and like powerless in a lot of ways, and they're not afraid to shy away from like, this stuff is like uncomfortable and it sucks. And I think basically to sum this up, I think the darkest parts of this game are where it really shines. There are also some good things in here too, of like that are like, aside from that, we're still like, the general gameplay is solid. I think that like there's some cool stealth stuff where it's a little more dynamic stealth of like stay out of the light, don't get seen, don't get heard. But there's not like anything that's really clear cut like in Cold War or Black Ops 6 or something where it's like a little indicator. You just like trying not to get noticed. So I think that flows a little better there. Those are neat. Just general shootouts and cover-based stuff, whatever, are good. I do think that you do notice that this game, you do have to, it is tough. Like, even on a regular, I died a bunch of times because you can't just run out and be, a badass and kill everybody yourself. It's not, like, super fast, and it's not as fluid or anything as, like, the movement in, like, Black Ops 6 or anything like that, which I played before this, even though I know this is older. But yeah, you can't just like run out and do that stuff. You need to stay behind cover. You need to stick with your squad. You need to play carefully, because otherwise you're just gonna get killed. But even so, the core mechanics, the main shootouts, all that stuff is very good. And like multiplayer is good. That's solid, more back to basics kind of multiplayer stuff, with the modes and whatnot. So yeah, I even played a bit of Ground War, which before I thought Ground War was just like bigger game modes, like more players in the same kind of modes. But actually, basically, Ground War is like where you go and like try to take over these and hold these different positions. Things like domination, I think it's kind of like that, where you try and take and hold these positions to get points. But there's just more of them in this mode because the maps are way bigger with more people, and you have like vehicles and stuff you can go around in. So it's kind of interesting to try. They even have a 1v1 mode also. It's called 1v1 me, bro. And what's the objective, which is like all the objective based stuff, but also you just get points for getting kills, which honestly, do you really need that mode? I don't know. Like, I guess it's nice. I don't know, I feel like getting your kills still matters, but like at the same time, it kind of feels like, well, if that's the case, then you can just ignore what you're supposed to be doing. You might as well just do team deathmatch if you're just going to go for kills anyways, right? So, I don't know. A little 50-50 on that one, but yeah, there's the general gameplay as a game stuff. It's also good. The problem is, not everything in this is good. For example, the co-op mode, while it is fun when you can play it, is pretty dead right now. This game came out in 2019. Reviewing this in 2025, yeah, the game is, that mode's pretty dead. Apparently, it wasn't all that active to begin with. Like, there's some extra story missions and stuff, whatever, you can kind of do in there that are like vaguely tied to the main plot. And the regular Spec Ops stuff, where you're going and doing these 4-player squads and these big maps with moving objectives and stuff. But and you can like pick a class and like do like have maybe like a medic or something, and have like these different like abilities kind of related to that. That's like cool and it's fun, but again, if you can't find enough people to start the matches, it's not like you can do those offline. There's bots for multiplayer at least, but for this, you can't really. I think you can maybe do some of these things, but it might only be like the regular Spec Ops stuff. Only some of the stuff can you do offline. And there's some more classic Spec Ops stuff where they just give you predetermined loadout stuff and try to beat those challenges. And there's survival modes also in here. You can play that with up to 4 people. But again, it's like, a lot of these things are just not really playable right now because not enough people care about them also to be playing them. You'd pretty much have to find people specifically who want to play this, and then like elsewhere, and then like find a time to play together or something to get these off the ground for the most part, which is a little sad. And also, like I said, multiplayer's fine. It's not like a standout. As the newer games come out, those are you're just gonna play those. You're not gonna notice, a whole lot of like huge difference there. I don't think. Though I do think movement is better in multiplayer. They do let you move around a little more swiftly in multiplayer in general, which I think is probably a good decision because the campaign feels fairly slow. Like I mentioned, even you know, especially after Black Ops 6, it feels weird to be so like slow and stiff. Um, and then also for the campaign, there's like there's a mission where you're a couple things I didn't really care for mission things. Also, like there's a mission where you're um, sniping and you have to adjust for like the wind direction and like bullet drop for how far away they are, and it's just annoying because I'm a bad sniper to start with. um, but maybe if you're a really good sniper, you'll like that and think, oh, this is interesting. I didn't care for that one. And there's also the one where there's you have to like these enemies are approaching you from like a field, and you have to keep like shooting like flares out to like be able to kind of see them. That one I thought was also kind of annoying. I didn't really care much for that. So I don't think all of the campaign is like completely like all killer no filler. Some of it's kind of like I don't like some of this stuff. And ultimately, the campaign is just too short. That's probably my biggest complaint about this whole campaign. Really, is that it feels like a part one, rather than here's a whole campaign and then there's going to be another one in the next game. Right? It feels like they knew they were going to do more than one of these, and they decided, you know what, like we're gonna cut it here. And I just didn't feel like it, ending didn't feel super, like it didn't feel super satisfying. And I don't know. I guess like I just wish there was more. I felt like it was just about to get to like some of the best missions, and then it just stopped. And I feel like if it was longer, if you had more missions, and like I don't know if you even necessarily needed more variety from other missions, or just elongating like some more of these same types of missions. I don't know. I just know that it felt way too short. And basically at this point, this game I think is one where essentially I have trouble recommending it because the campaign is that short, and the co-op mode is basically nothing anymore. You can play the online, but it's not really a super big standout. And you're probably hearing all this and being like, well, why is this game so loved? Maybe it is overrated. And my assessment is yes, I do think this game is overrated. And I'm like, I hate to say it because it's not like it's a bad game. It's just there's not enough there, especially now as more of it has fallen away. There's not enough between the campaign and the multiplayer. It's just I think you should get this at a lower price. In fact, the reason I think it was so highly rated, especially when it came out, was because, or at least closer to there, is because there were a lot of people who sort of jumped ship from the series, from like probably around the 360 era when basically started going more into like here's more futuristic sci-fi stuff that doesn't really feel very Call of Duty, and people are like, I don't really want this. They're kind of like feel like they're starved for more of like that more modern setting, because they also don't necessarily want to keep going back to World War II constantly either. So it's like, like would it be nice to get another like game kind of like this, or have a balance of that, where it's like some cool modern stuff, here, not crazy futuristic, but not like so far in the past that it feels like it's something that's more easier to connect to if it's like more recent. I think that's a big part of it. Obviously, throwing the Modern Warfare name on it was going to pull people in because people associate that with very good games. And I think also, the multiplayer stuff got kind of weird, or at least it got more complicated for some of these other ones. So having um, basically having a multiplayer mode without the pick 10 system and without specialists, and just kind of going back to basics with this, but keeping the gunsmith thing, because people did like that with the multiple like attachments on your weapons. um, Doing that, I think, also helped a lot for people to be like, yes, a more like basic thing that I like. And then Spec Ops felt like kind of like a part of a bonus. um, I don't know, like again, or like the co-op stuff was like cool. When you could play with people, it was a lot cooler. Especially by now, it's really not a factor. But I think it definitely brought a lot of people back into Call of Duty, and that's why it got so hyped up. It's like, yes, finally Call of Duty is Call of Duty again, and it was the first one to support the brand new engine they've been working with, to do more stuff with it and make it look nicer and all this other stuff. So, yeah. I'll also tack this on the end here to say that it is nice that they do have the texture streaming stuff here, but you can turn it off, so you don't need to have internet to play this game at all. I also mentioned that there's the whole download bullshit where you have to go in and like to get it now. It was like I got the game and it came with a bunch of like DLC stuff. I had to go in to the game and then select the DLC from inside the game individually one by one and queue up the downloads. And then I had to deal with like my storage situation of like, I had to tell it for every one of them, tell it no, put it on the expansion card, not the internal storage, because there's no way to just direct it when you're there and whatever. And so it took quite a while for me to actually get the whole thing downloaded and then being able to play, because if you don't download everything, you can't play. So why doesn't it just download everything automatically now when you get it? I don't know. It's weird. That's kind of more around it than like the game itself, but it is pretty annoying. And it's just also weird that level progression is like carried over between Call of Duty games now. I don't necessarily think I like that, but I'll also say that I think Warzone was kind of like, being kind of like connected with this also fed into this, of like people really liked Warzone, but I haven't played Warzone, and I feel like that's its own thing, because you don't need any of these other games to play Warzone as far as I'm aware. And also now it's like Warzone 2.0, so I don't know if this Warzone even works with that, or if it'll just go to the new Warzone. I don't know. So I didn't talk about Warzone at all, because I didn't play any of that, because I didn't download Warzone. I downloaded Modern Warfare 2019. Okay, so those are my things here. So sorry if this review was, let me know if it's any good. I just did this as a sort of an aside, like sort of a different type of review, I guess, because I had some things to say, and I felt like it wasn't going to do me much good to sit here and explain all of like, here's this, in this mode you do this, in this mode you do this, and this is the whatever, and then try to go into the stuff. This was really the meat of like, I thought this had some pretty good stuff to talk about here, and the rest of it is kind of like, who cares? And so I didn't want to like get too bogged down in the details on this one, so it's a little different than what I usually do. Let me know if you like it or not. I may be a little bit quiet because of the timing that I'm recording this, but yeah, so hopefully the review's okay, and like, let me know in the comments what you like about Modern Warfare 2019. Do you think this was overrated, or do you think it actually is really good, or like what are your thoughts on it? What do you like, what do you not like? Hearing other perspectives on this would probably be cool from other people who are watching this and have actually played or whatever. That would be nice to get more. It's always nice to get more feedback on these things, because I do try to cross-reference a bit online. That's usually like official reviews, and then just random users saying what they think about the games, and getting more input is always nice. So let me know what you think of this type of review and of the game and all that stuff, and see you next time.
Hostages up top. We need help up here! Help us! Get it off me! Please, get it off me! Charlie, I need you over here. Help me! Help me, I'm not one of them! I don't want to die. I don't want to die, mate. Look, open! I want to see. Can you open? I'm trying. Let me see my girl! It's going off. I can't get it. No time! Help me! Help me! Wait! What are you doing? No! No! All stations. Bomb is clear. Prep medical, we're coming out. Hey, everybody stay calm. We're gonna get you out of here. You broken?
I'm good. Let's go.